Welcome to another edition of the Working Parents Network at the University of Kentucky's monthly workshop series. Today we will be talking about Kentucky Saves 529 plan, and we have Joe Wilcox here with us today to tell us all about the plan.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the introduction, Azeta. I really appreciate it. And again, my name is Joe Wilcox. I am the field representative for KY Saves 529. My fancy title is Institutional Relationship Manager. So basically, my job is to help people understand what KY Saves 529 is, how to open an account, all the benefits and features. So I'm really looking forward to spending some time here with University of Kentucky employees. We've been working with UK now for about almost 3 years. It's been very successful. The community there has really embraced KY Saves 529. So we really enjoy working with Azeta and the university and helping the employees understand what KY Saves is. So so today we'll spend it'll take about 45 minutes or so for us to get through the presentation. You'll understand all the basic benefits and features. At the end of the presentation, I'll put a link in the chat box, and that link will allow you to enter our quarterly drawing. So you have a chance to win a $529 account. And also at the end, I'll tell you about a promotion that we're doing this month. So if you are an existing account owner or you open a new account with us this month and set up payroll direct deposit, you'll get an extra $50. So we'll have a little more information on that at the end as well. So let's go ahead and jump on into this. So whenever I talk about saving for education, first thing I like to do is mention how much it costs. Everybody here, I'm sure, is aware of how much college costs. So with our plan, on average, our families are starting to save for their children when their children are about 7 or 8 years old. And our families are saving roughly enough to pay for about 2 years of public school college costs. So if you look at the graph here, on average, this is a national average. So on average, 1 year of public university is about $25,000. So our savers are saving roughly about enough to pay for half of their children's college education. So most of our savers are parents saving for their children. Like I said, starting around age 7 or 8 for their child. The sooner you can start this, the better. I saw in the chat box there, we have some kids that are really young in 1, 2, 3, 4 year range. That's awesome. The more time you have to save, the better off that you can be using our plan. I saw that we also have a grandparent, so that's good to see. A lot of people think 529s are just for parents and children relationships, but actually you can open a 529 for anyone. You don't even have to be related to the child. But we do get a lot of grandparents that open these plans. So I'm glad to see that. Again, anyone can open a 529. I think everyone here today is interested in saving for a child, but you could even open a 529 for yourself if you were thinking about going back to school later on down the road. So the good news is, as far as college costs, the average child is probably not going to have to pay full price. They'll get some sort of financial aid package from the school that they choose to attend. And roughly, what I like to call the free money, the grants and scholarships, averages about $10,000 per student. So that's going to help quite a bit. Obviously, there's a lot of ground to make up if the average cost is $25,000 a year and we're only getting $10,000 in grants or scholarships. So the idea here is to start early, save as much as we possibly can, try to borrow as little as possible. Borrowing is so burdensome. It's so hard on a freshly minted graduate. The average graduate has about $30,000 in debt. So imagine leaving the university, not even having a job, and you're already, on the hook for $400 or $500 a month payment for student loans. So want to try to avoid that as much as we possibly can. So I have an example here of saving versus borrowing, as a matter of fact. So in this example, we've set our saving goal at $35,000. So in order to get there, in this example, we're assuming you start when your child is born, you put away $100 a month for 18 years and you get 5% return. That would get you to $35,000. And you can see there that to get to this $35,000, you're only out of pocket about $22,000. So all the rest of that is earnings. You've almost doubled your money with the earnings. So that shows two things. It's the power of starting early and the power of getting a decent return on your savings. So unfortunately, a lot of families don't know about 529. So when it comes time to save for college, they'll go down to the bank and open a savings account and just start putting money in a savings account. And although the interest rates on a savings accounts are decent right now, historically, it's less than like 1% interest on a savings account. So making your money work a little harder for you is going to help you end up with more. On the other hand, if you're going to borrow $35,000, it's going to cost you almost $50,000 to borrow $35,000. And you're looking at a monthly payment in the $400 range. I'm using an interest rate of 7% right now, but the actual student loan, the federal student loan rate today is closer to 9%. So it's a much harder lift, $400 a month versus $100 a month. So we want to just save as much as we can, start as early as we can. That's the two key lessons right there. So let's jump into a little bit of overview of our plan. So Kentucky was one of the first states to begin offering a savings plan for parents to help them save for their children's education. We were doing it back in 1990 before 529s were even invented. We've done a lot of work to our plan recently. The plan's been around a long time. So in 2019, we did a major upgrade to it. We lowered all of our fees for one thing. We instituted a completely new investment lineup to be more in tune with the times. We have a new program manager. We have robust technology. We have friends and family gifting platforms that you can take advantage of now. So just a lot to offer you. The program manager for KY Saves 529 is a census. So that's who I work for. The state of Kentucky hired a census to manage their 529 plan. So I'm based right here in Lexington. I'm a Kentucky native, graduate of the University of Kentucky. So I'm very excited to be working with this plan. I worked in banking for about 15 years prior to joining a census. So I'm very excited to be working with the plan and working with Kia. You've probably all heard of Kia. Kia is the organization here in the state that gives away the KEYS money. So your children will start earning KEYS money in high school, and they can earn up to $10,000 for college or trade school. So this is kind of the nuts and bolts of how a 529 plan works and all the advantages that you get from using a 529 you can't get with just a regular savings account. So number one, you don't pay any taxes on your earnings as long as you use it for education. You don't pay any taxes while your money is sitting in the account. It's growing tax deferred, so that means it's growing faster. As I mentioned, you have investments to choose from. Our investments are really easy to understand and easy to set up. You can start with any amount that works for you. We have no minimums whatsoever with our 529. So there's no minimum balance requirement. There's no minimum monthly contribution, nothing like that. So whatever works for you, you can start with. I'm going to talk more about the gifting and reward options, how you can take advantage of that to boost your savings. But in addition to all these items that will help you save more, there's two features of our 529 you can't get with other 529s. So number one is our financial aid benefit. So if your child decides to stay in Kentucky at either a public or private university, that school is not going to count any of your 529 plan savings towards need-based student financial aid calculations. So when your child chooses a school, the school's going to look at how much money you've saved, how much money you make, and they're going to determine how much financial aid to offer your child. So they're not going to count any of your KY saves balance in that calculation. They basically back it out. It's going to help your child potentially get more financial aid. Another thing that we offer is if you open your account while you're living in Kentucky, but for some reason your family moves away to another state. You know, we live in a very mobile society these days. Here in Kentucky, we want all of our people to come back. A lot of Kentuckians leave and eventually come back. So we offer a benefit. So if you open your account while you're living here, but you move away, your child grows up and decides that they want to come back to one of our state schools, they could do so at in-state tuition rates. So let's say, you know, you open your account, you move away to Florida, your child grows up, wants to attend the University of Kentucky. They could do so at in-state tuition rates, even though you're no longer a resident of our state. So another potentially nice bonus that you can get with our plan that you can't get with other plans. So we talked a little bit about tax deferral. So with a 529, your money goes into the 529 after tax, but once it's in the account, you don't have to report the earnings as income annually the way you have to do with a savings account. So your money's growing tax deferred. That means it's growing faster because you're not paying taxes on it every year, and you end up with more. You can see there, you know, the difference between a taxable account and a tax deferred account. So a great tool to help you save more. All right, so let's look at all the ways that you can use your 529 plan savings. So a lot of people think it's just for tuition, but there's lots of different ways to use your 529. A lot of people think it has to be used for a 4-year college degree, but that's not the case. You can use 529 plan savings to pay for vocational school, trade school, apprenticeship expenses, community college, public, private universities, grad school, law school, medical school, very, very flexible, room and board, meal plans, books, fees, computers, software. Another item that people aren't aware of is you can use your 529 to pay for K through 12 private school tuition. So that's an option as well. So a lot of different ways to spend your money. And the main thing to remember is it's not just for 4-year college degree. You know, you never know what your child's going to grow up and be interested in. So we want our plan to be very, very flexible to meet the needs of all families, no matter what path of education your child chooses. So again, there's no minimums to open our account. I encourage everyone to make their contributions automatic. You'll be a better saver if you do so. You can do that in 2 ways. One is by payroll direct deposit, and another is by setting up a recurring contribution from your bank account. So very, very easy to set up a recurring contribution. And then our fees range from 0.20 to 0.83. So it depends on your investment choice. For example, if you had a balance of $1,000 in your account, your fee for the year would be somewhere between $2 and $8.30. So again, it depends on your investment choice, which we'll look at here pretty soon, here in just a minute. Most of the fees kind of fall more in that middle range, so it'd be about $4.50 a year per $1,000 balance. And you're allowed to save up to $450,000 per beneficiary. So again, anyone can open a 529, parents, grandparents, relatives, even friends. Doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter how old your child is. You can start these plans at any time. One nice feature of 529s is the owner retains control. So, there are some methods of saving for a child's education that require you to hand the money over to the child when they turn 18. With a 529, the account owner always retains control of the account. Another nice feature of 529s is the ability to change the beneficiary. So I'll talk about why that's important here in just a minute, but you can change the beneficiary at any time. You can also have multiple accounts for the same child. So we have a lot of situations where the parents have opened a 529 for a child, and then also the grandparents. A lot of times grandparents will wonder, how will their 529 affect financial aid decisions? So the good news is a grandparent's 529 has no bearing whatsoever on financial aid. It's not counted at all. So that's a nice feature for a grandparent that wants to save. You don't have to worry about how the 529 could impact financial aid. So when it comes time to disperse the funds, there's a couple ways to do it. So one way is to have payments sent directly from your 529 to the school. You can also make a withdrawal, put it in your checking account, and then write a check to the school, however you would like to do it. One thing I just tell everyone is keep records, your receipts and things like that. When you make a withdrawal from a 529, you don't have to prove what you're using the money for or show any kind of receipts as proof unless you get audited by the IRS. So if you were to be audited by the IRS and they see that you have a 529 plan and you've made withdrawals from it, they're going to ask you for receipts. So that's the only time anyone will ever ask you for proof of how you've used the 529 plan funds. So just make sure you keep your receipts. We're going over a lot of information here today, so we'll have plenty of time at the end for you to ask questions. So don't worry, I'll stick around long enough to answer any question that anybody has at the end of the presentation here today. All right. So the biggest question we get around 529s is, what if I put money into one and my child doesn't go to college? So that is obviously a concern. It's a question that every potential account owner will ask. So you have lots of options. We mentioned just now that 529s are not just for college. So if your child doesn't go to college, say they want to go to vocational school to be a 2-year program to be an electrician, or a welder, things like that, down at the community college or technical school, you can do that. So it's not just for college. I mentioned that you can change the beneficiary. So I saw that here today we have parents that have multiple children. So if you set a 529 up for one child and they decide not to go to college, you can simply transfer that child's balance to the 529 for the children that will go to college. With 529s, you're typically setting up one for each child. It's better to do it that way because most of the investments are based on the age of the child. So transfers between 529s are no impact on taxes. You can transfer between 529s as much as you want. So if you have a child that's not going to use the money, you simply just transfer it to another child. You can also change the beneficiary to any other member of the family. So it could be siblings, cousins. You could make yourself the new beneficiary or your spouse. If your child's not going to use it and you decide, maybe you want to continue your education, so you could become the new beneficiary. So it's very flexible on who becomes the new beneficiary. Another option is you can just simply take the money back, or you could give the money to the child. The only drawback with that option is when you make a withdrawal and you don't use it for education, you got to pay the taxes. Okay. So Education-related expenses, withdrawals for education are completely tax-free, but if you take the money back and do something else with it, you pay the taxes. There's also a penalty. One way to get out of that penalty, one exception, is scholarships. So if your child gets a scholarship, let's say a $10,000 scholarship from a school, you could make a $10,000 withdrawal, do anything you want with that, and not have to pay the penalty. Okay, so there is an exception for scholarships. The last option is, I don't have it listed here because it's so new, it's just going into effect next year, but you can now roll over 529 funds into a retirement account, into a Roth IRA for the child. So if they decide not to use it for college, you can roll those funds into a retirement account and get your child off on a quick start for their retirement savings. So that is also an option. So you have plenty of options. I can tell you every parent asks this question and is concerned about it, but 97% of our withdrawals are made to pay for education expenses. People don't get stuck with their money. It's rarely an issue, even though every parent is concerned about it. In reality, it really doesn't come up that much. Most of our withdrawals are used to pay for education, somewhere around 97%. So it's an obvious question, but I can tell you in reality, it doesn't really affect most families. Okay, so let's look at the investment options. So with our plan, there's 3 ways that you can manage your contributions. There's year of enrollment, which is probably the one most people are familiar with. There's asset allocation, where you can build your own portfolio, and capital preservation, which is a guaranteed account. So year of enrollment works a lot like a 403B or a 401k. You're choosing a basket of funds that's preset, and it gets more conservative as time goes by. So here we have 8 choices. Each choice has a year that's associated with it. So what you're doing is choosing the option that has the year that most closely matches when your child would start college. Okay, so that's all you have to do. We do the rest. So let's say your child is 10 years away from starting college. So that would be the year 2033. 10 years from now would be 2033. So the closest to that is 2034. So you can see there the 2034 option. It's mostly international and US stocks. It's pretty aggressive. There's some fixed income in there, and there's some what we call capital preservation. That's guaranteed, the most conservative part of your portfolio. So as time goes by, we're going to take some risk off the table every year. So by the time your child is ready to enroll in college, your account is actually going to look like the in-school enrollment option there on the right. Over half of it will be guaranteed. You can't lose on that portion. Just a sliver will be in international and US stocks, and the rest, a good chunk, will be in fixed income again, which is the less volatile type of investment. So again, we're managing this entire process. You make your pick in the beginning, and we manage it over time as well, making it more conservative as the years go by. So another option is asset allocation. So in asset allocation, you can build your own portfolio using these 4 options. You have 2 equity options and 2 bond options. So you can put those together according to your own risk tolerances. You want to be really aggressive or really conservative, you can also use year of enrollment in conjunction with asset allocation. We have folks that do that. So asset allocation just gives you the ability to set up your own personalized portfolio if you wish to do that. And then there's capital preservation, which is guaranteed. So this account, you put $1 in, you get $1 back plus interest. And actually pays decent right now. There's been a lot of talk about how interest rates are high. So right now, this account actually pays around 5%. But this interest rate will fluctuate. It's not guaranteed to always be 5%, but it is guaranteed to never drop below 1%. All right, so let's look at some additional ways that you can boost your savings with a 529. So the first way to do that is with UGift. So everyone that opens an account with us is automatically enrolled in UGift. UGift is a way to invite friends and families to contribute to your child's 529 account. So you get a 6-digit code that you can share with friends and family, and then that allows them to make a contribution to your 529. And it's very, very easy to do. We also have a mobile app, which you can do a lot with. But the reason I like to mention the mobile app is people that use our mobile app get twice as many gifts from their friends and family as people that do not use our mobile app. So the reason is with the mobile app, we make it really, really easy to share that 6-digit UGift code. It also, when you text it to your friends and family, you can text it out with a link to ugift.com, which is where people go to make their contribution. It comes with instructions on how to get everything all set up. So it just makes it really easy to receive a gift. It makes it really easy to ask for a gift. It's a lot easier to text a message to someone and ask for a gift, than it is to ask for a gift in person. So again, people that are using our mobile app are really successful at soliciting gifts from their friends and family. Another way you can boost your savings is with You Promise. So You Promise is a shopping and rewards program. So every dollar you spend at the You Promise mall or at grocery stores or certain restaurants, 1.529% goes as a rebate directly into your 529 account. So You Promise will also give you $30 right now just for opening an account and linking it to your 529. So a great way to get a few extra dollars as the years go by, just by buying things that you were going to buy anyways, and being rewarded for that into your 529 account. Another way to boost your savings is through estate planning. So there's special rules around 529s when it comes to gifting. So right now, a single person could make a gift to another person of $17,000 and not have to pay any gift taxes. But with 529s, you could accelerate that and actually make an $85,000 gift to a 529 in 1 year and not have to pay gift taxes. So that's a gift that could actually be made every 5 years, and no gift taxes would be required for that type of contribution. So it's another way to boost your savings. Married couples could actually double that. So they could do up to $170,000 contribution every 5 years and not pay any gift taxes on those contributions. All righty, so let's review really quickly. So we talked about the tax benefits. Tax benefits are huge. You don't pay any taxes on your earnings as long as you're using your earnings to pay for education. Your money's growing tax deferred, so it's growing faster. We saw how flexible 529s are. Again, it's not just for college. Trade school, vocational school, apprenticeship expenses are all eligible expenses. You can change the beneficiaries. So if your original beneficiary decides not to go to college or gets everything paid for, you can change the beneficiary to another member of the family. Investments, we saw how easy it is to set up the investments. They're very, very attractive investments. We put a lot of work into building our portfolios. So very, very easy to set up and understand. And then the gifting and reward options are also going to help you boost your savings. If you can just get a few family members to pitch in $50 at Christmas and $50 on your child's birthday and do that every year, from the time they're born till they turn 18, you're talking thousands of extra dollars. for your child's education. And we make it really, really easy for those numbers to add up. Enrollment is really easy. You just go to our website and sign up. You just need to have your child's social and birth date. You make your investment choice, pick your contribution method. You can literally have an account open in about 10 or 15 minutes. It's that easy. So I always encourage payroll direct deposit. As I mentioned earlier, here in October, if you set up payroll direct deposit to your account, we will give you an extra $50. So if you're saving for, let's say, 2 children and you set up payroll direct deposit to both accounts, we'll give you $50 per account. So that's here for the month of October. You still have plenty of time to take advantage. Open an account, or if you have an existing account. So if someone on here has an account already and they're just tuning in today to better understand their 529, if you haven't already, you can set up payroll direct deposit to your existing account, and we'll also pay you an extra $50 bonus as well. So UK actually makes it really easy to set up payroll. When you go into the HR site to open your 529, there's special instructions for how to set up direct deposit to your KY Saves account. So UK actually makes it very, very simple to set up payroll. So some things I need to let you know about. So we have a website. It's ky529.com, and I'll post that again here in a minute. So that's where you can get a lot more information, even more than what we talked about today. That's where you can open an account. That's our website, ky529.com. So this is an investment. You can lose money. So what I just say is if you have some time on your side and you choose the right tool for the job, you're going to be just fine. But this is an investment, so you do have the potential to lose money. KY Saves 529 is administered by the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority, and Ascensus College Savings Record Keeping Services is the program manager. So here is our website again, ky529.com. So this is where you go to open your account. This is where you go if you want to just dig around and get more information. So this is our main account. ky529.com is actually associated with me. So there's lots of ways you can get to our website. You could just Google KY Saves or 529, and our plan is going to be probably one of the first ones to pop up, and you can follow that link. But if you actually type ky529.com into your browser and get to the site that way, I get credit for sending you to the site, so it kind of helps me a little bit. I don't get paid a commission or anything like that, but just lets my boss know that I'm actually out here doing my job and not sitting around in a coffee shop all day long. So ky529.com. And then this is my contact information. So you can always email me. That's my email address, joseph.wilcox@ascensus.com. You can text me or call me. So if you're unsure and you need information, you can set up a one-on-one meeting with me. You can do that through the website as well, or you can text me or call me and say, hey, I'd like to talk this over some more, and we can do that. We could do a one-on-one Zoom meeting. So it's very easy to get in touch with me. I'd be happy to help you if you have more questions or if you need help opening an account. And that's pretty much all I had for you today. I'm gonna attempt to post a couple things in the chat box here. So the first thing I'm posting is a link to our giveaway. So I mentioned that everyone that attends today will have a chance to enter our drawing, a chance to win a $529 account. So the link I put in the chat box is how you enter the drawing. You click on that link, it'll take you to our entry form, and you fill that out and submit it, and you'll be entered into our drawing. So it asks you what event. You can just say webinar and For the representative, you can put me or JW, just put Joe Wilcox or JW. So that'll get you entered into our drawing. And then I mentioned that you can get an extra $50 this month. So I'm going to type another link in if you want to get more information on that. So kysaves.com/employer50. So if you want to get more information about our October promotion, you can find that information there. So I think we have some questions, it looks like, in the chat box. Let's take a look here. So we have a question here. Can KY Saves 529 funds be used for summer camp at like private camps and things like that, summer activities? So unfortunately, that wouldn't be a eligible expense. So if it's a K through 12 expenditure, the only eligible expense is school tuition. So the actual school that they're attending, you can pay for the tuition, but that's the only eligible expense when it comes to K through 12. After K through 12, there's a lot more options. It's not just tuition, it's books, computers, fees, things like that. But for K through 12, the only eligible expense is tuition, private school tuition. So we have another question here. We get this quite a bit. So the question is, I've seen other states like New York offer tax savings for people that contribute dollars into a 529. Does Kentucky offer anything like that? So unfortunately, we do not offer a tax rebate of any sort, like a tax credit or a deduction, the way a lot of states do, like New York. You do still get tax benefits because your money is growing tax deferred and you don't pay any taxes on your earnings. However, Kentucky does not offer any kind of tax incentive beyond that. And we have another question here. When the child is in college, does the child need to stay on college campus for room and board, or can they use the money for house or apartment? All right, that's a good question. We don't get this one very often, but you can use your 529 plan savings to pay for an off-campus apartment. So that is definitely an eligible expense. The only restriction is you can't pay more for the off-campus apartment than you would for a dorm room on campus. But you can use your 529 to pay for off-campus apartments. So thanks for those questions. I'll stick around as long as you need me here to answer any more questions.